Hi folks, me again, and this is a Sam story, the continuation. This is part B. And again, this is for entertainment purposes and spiritual development. Now, I've said that all the way along, but the spiritual development is to give you something to trigger you. Now, you may not accept anything I'm saying. You might say it's all rubbish, but there'll be just one little point, particle, and that's all that matters, that will trigger in you a need to go and look for yourself. And that's all I'm here for, okay? Is to get you to start on your journey. If we could have done this through Pete in America, for America years ago, they wouldn't be in the mess they're in now. That is so sad. Anyway, enough of that. That's for another blog, I assume. Righto, so we're going back to Sam. And just at the stage, Sam is a guy who was a friend of ours, or mine, and a psychic mate, Danny. And Sam has passed away with cancer. He had no idea where he was, and he was completely confused. Danny hasn't really come into the picture at this stage. He's coming in later. But we're going on to, after I finish off the last, and I'll give you the little tail bit from the last one. So the bit before was where Sam had, where my spirit friends had said, Spirit suggested I take a short break because Sam needed to ease back. I poured myself a drink and my tea was ruined, and so I didn't. Oh, I did have tea. I think it was because I'm all sorts of food problems. And I don't even know what I had for tea that night. Anyway, then we came back, and my spirit friends talking to Sam said, and that's us, as I've said, I'm referring to we. Okay, mate, we're going to turn on the light. Move your legs over the side of the bed and rest them on the floor. Sam, are you kidding? There's no way I can do that. My legs can't even take my own weight. If I sit up, my body can't take the weight. He was just riddled with cancer, as I said in the first bit. So then we say, please trust us. Please trust me, but it was us. You'll be totally safe. Just bring your legs over the side of the bed, nothing more. Sam, okay. And this was not, I'm putting it so it just all instantly happened. No. There was a lot of this other conversation going on, and I had to shorten it because already it's, probably about 5 blogs. Anyway, finally he said, oh, okay, and gingerly he did as he was asked and slowly lowered his legs over the side of the bed. We said, how are your legs, ankles and feet? And there was a bit of quietness at first, then it was, Sam said, good. I don't feel any pain, so it must be okay. It must be the medication. Then my spirit friends, of course, straight away said, the medication you haven't had in how many days? Ooh, you can be cutting. And Sam, of course, as I said earlier in the first blog, if he got hit with something, he'd laugh. It'd be his distraction, The laugh hadn't heard since his passing. And in this case, he said, yeah, you got me there. When I saw Sam on the Wednesday before his passing, he was sitting on the side of the bed. Oh, yeah, well, I'm just going on a little bit about what I saw. But you can read that, by all means. Please, go and read the full story. I'll give you the links to it. At the end of each one of these, I hope to remember that. All right, thank you. They say that they'll do it. They'll remind me. So, we said, okay, now carefully reach out in front of you and you'll feel the walking frame. There used to be a frame there, but it may not have been there in reality. It could have been them, but it would have been there at some time, so that would make the connection for Sam to know what they were talking about. Now slowly lift yourself onto the frame. No, Sam said, I'm not going to be able to walk. There's no way. He was just adamant. That's out. As I said, when Sam said no, it was no. He was adamant. I've been in quite a few situations where it was just no and no more conversation. Okay. Oh, yeah. You're there, aren't you? I can hear you chuckling in the background. Ah, getting teary-eyed. You're ruining this, Sam. Shut up. I've got to get on with the rest of this. Okay. So we said, it's the only way we can get some light into your room, Sam. Trust us. You'll do fine. And then Sam then says, Pete, come on now. The light switch is on the other wall behind me. And he was in the bed here. The light switch and the toilet were over there, I think, from memory. I'll never get to it. You should have got me to move to the other side of the bed. So I had him on this side of the bed. As I say, the light switch is over there. The other side of the bed before I put my legs out this side. Basically, I'll never get my legs back in again and on the other side. We said, we're not going to the light switch, Sam. We're going to draw back the curtains at the window. That's worse. He did. Profanities come out of him. That's worse. There's a chair and a cupboard and stuff over there. I'll never make it. That's been cleared away, Sam. Please, trust us. Trust me. You'll be okay. Steady yourself on the walking frame and carefully stand. And there was protests. There was, you think I'm an idiot? There was all this sort of stuff, Finally, it's interesting how he did actually still do it. So finally he stood up on the frame. There was silence, and then he stood up and began to move. And there was an almighty holy shit. So please, if you don't like language, you should know Australians by now. Come on. We invented profanities. It's our birthright. Okay, so then spirit friends, are you all right? Absolutely. Oh, this is Sam. Exuberant. Yeah, it's a miracle. I'm standing and there's no pain. Oh, this is strange, weird shit. I'm totally stunned. This is not possible. And it was a lot more than that, but you're getting the clue of what was really being said, including profanities. And so at this stage, probably was me, but it was Spirit Friends and I together anyway. We started singing Changes from David Bowie because he's changing, and he started laughing his head off with that one. So I get back to, I felt him slowly shuffling towards the window, turned towards me with a look of utter amazement, and then continued towards the window. He stood for a moment and then began sporadically opening the curtains. It was sort of like, move this hand, I've got to hold here, and I've got to hold that. And, it was all stilted. What happened next was beyond my expectations. The emotions were overwhelming, and I cried my eyes out. I've actually got a few tears now. Sorry, folks. I haven't read this for so many years, and it's bringing back so much emotion. Okay, so there's no experience that I can think of that ever comes close to what I felt of Sam's emotions at that time, because I was feeling what he was feeling. That's what I say. I think he's around because he'd be feeling this again. Well, they're saying he is, but he's back. He's up in the gallery. They're saying if you can imagine a big theatre and he's up on the layers up there, and it's like encore, throwing peanuts. You're always good at that. Okay, after a bit of composure, how are you, Sam? Sam, speechless. I'm standing on the veranda at my old home in Garoolba, as I've said. I'm looking out at the sunset, and it's better than awesome. We were both blubbering like babies. Well, I'm just reading this and I'm whelming up. She's here, he sobs. He's sobbing. I can see Jill. She's right there. The rose bush. More sobbing. He'd planted a rose bush when she'd passed away. Now, I don't know that I mentioned the first one. it was 10 years after her death that he passed away. So over that 10 years, he lived a totally lonely life, as I've said, and he planted a beautiful yellow rose, the yellow rose of Texas. And there was a song that he used to sing. I've got to see if I can remember the song. I don't know that I put it in here. It might have been the Yellow Rose. No, it wasn't. No. If you can bring that through if we need to. I don't know whether you want to. She's right here. The rose bush, more sobbing. It's blooming yellow flowers and they're all around the base of the gum tree. He wouldn't look after that rose. He tried to. But of course, being the more painful he got, the less he could do it. So I used to go past his place when he'd moved to the hospice. I used to wish I could go in there, but I didn't have permission from him to water the rose. But it was blooming in his mind. I can smell her perfume mixed in with the roses. I excused myself claiming for a nature break, but actually I just needed to ease some of the emotion away so I could continue. It was emotional, all right. So we, a little time later with more composure, "Are you okay, mate?" "Yeah, this is just too much," he said. And we then said, "Do you feel tired? Do you want to go on, or do you want to go back to your bed?" Easing back to how he was before the encounter, "Yeah, I'm better now." His emotions had eased off a bit by this stage. So we then said after a little break, "So we'd better face some cold hard facts, Sammy, my mate. You somehow got from your bed, hospital bed, your body riddled with cancer, to the window, and magically transported yourself to here, on the veranda of your old home that you sold." Oh, that's right, he'd sold it. That's why I couldn't go in. He'd sold it earlier that year to the young couple we all know who are in there now. Lovely couple, and they've looked after his place wonderfully. And I continue. Jill passed away many years ago, 10 years ago. Yet you have her there with you. As the redhead would say, please explain. This is a political person we have in Australia. I won't go too much into the details, but she would be a great supporter of Donald Trump, I would be assuming. So you get an idea. And when things got confusing and she didn't know what she was talking about, she would come out with that, "Please explain." I think I'm going to need this hanky a few times through this session. Can't believe I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting to get emotional. I don't know whether you... Probably better I didn't put the glasses off. So I do a bit of explanation about Pauline. Back to Sam. I expected laughter, but he was irritated and sullen. "Something's wrong." That's what he said. "I know Jill's here. I can feel her. Yet every time I turn to where she's standing, she seems to move to another position, like she was seeming to move away from him and out of my view. She's back here behind me, just out of reach." So even though he was expecting to come up to her and grab her and it was going to be love and light, because, I'm cutting into the story a bit here, but because she had been evolved spiritually 10 years, probably even out of the tumbling, she was not able to come to him because he still was holding on to earthly values. So he wasn't really able to link to her. Anyway, so she's just out of reach. So we said, "Hey mate, you've got to be able to crawl before you can walk. You've got a hell of a lot of learning to do before you can get to that level," as I've just said. "Firstly, you've got to come to terms with whether this is a dream, or you're hallucinating from medication, or you're no longer alive, and or in the physical world." Just checking the time every now and then. "If you're dead, how come you're in an existence? How come you're having all these emotions? How come you're communing with me?" Sam was silent. My friend said, "He's tiring. Time to close off the session. I should have gone on with this a bit more anyway from the last one, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He's tiring, Spirit was saying to me. Time to close off the session. Then we say, Sam, Jill has moved time. Take two. Jill has had more time with Danny after she passed over than she did with us, because Danny was much closer to Sam and Jill, because Sam used to, as I've said earlier, Sam and Jill used to call around to his place after they'd been fruit picking, and it comes up later on in the story. Dave knew for sure it was them when they came through, because he could smell when they come through. He could smell the citrus flowers and the smell of citrus on them as they came to him in spirit. Where am I up to here? You know that Danny had said that to you. Oh, I'm reading. I'm sorry. Yeah, humble apologies. That we were saying, Sam, Jill has had more time with Danny after she passed over than she did with me. You know that Danny has said that to you, but you didn't believe it possible, because Danny's psychic. You'd be better off with him to link the three of you than it would be with me. And I was sort of gently saying, well, I think I've done my job, or spirit friends were saying, I don't think, it's better to commune with Dave. Sam didn't reply, and my guidance said he was extremely exhausted and his mindset was in total confusion. So I sent him my love and closed the circle. All right, so I will go, and I've got 17, it's usually about 30 minutes I've got. So on the 27th of May, 2018, Danny and I shared an email. It was on the 12th of April. Oh, that's what it was on the 12th of April that this next part applies to. The night of that incredible emotional encounter with my friend Sam had me in a headspin. All of this was happening within my headspace, and none of it could be proven to be anything other than my imagination. I felt like I was in a room within a room and totally lost to normality. I was past thinking rationally, and had to make contact with someone to base myself. And because Sammy and Danny had been closer friends than I had been, Danny was my obvious choice. So I'll pass that bit and go to, and I got permission from my guidance. So then I'll go to the email. This is the actual email I sent to Danny. It's late Thursday night and I've just had an incredible encounter with Sammy. And I told him about I was cooking my dinner and what happened. He had a meal, etc. And he hadn't had a meal in quite a while yet. So I was just going over what we had been talking about. I rationally led him back to where he'd passed over. Oh, well, okay, that's basically the email here is just saying what had happened to that point. So I won't go over that, but you can read that in the actual encounter. And these are the bits just explaining that. I'll even say I hadn't had an alcoholic beverage for a couple of days, actually, I don't think, at that stage. All right, so after sending him that email, Danny, he replied on Friday the 13th of April. Yeah, got a beautiful light energy last night, had trouble sleeping, and around 10:30 I tuned in. Sam was very clear in my mind with some recollections of the old things we got up to, and then it stopped. So while you were tuned in to Sam, I was picking up a sense of him. So at the time I was talking to Sam, Danny had got some stuff had come through, but then Danny assumes, or that's his understanding, that the conversation was severed while Sam and I did our bit. So while you're in tune to Sam, I was picking up a sense of him communing, but not with me. I could not get to sleep for hours after that, and my guidance said they'd be working with me through the night as I slept. So my lack of sleep was all that chatter going on between you and Sam, huh? It's all your fault. So it sounds as if he is stuck halfway. I'll work with him if he wants me to. Thank you for keeping me informed, and I reckon you can make up the drinks tonight for the last few nights. So that was, basically that. So I then come back. As I said, this was all new in the fact that I'd had someone else that had actually had sensed the same as I'd sensed. That was very new. I mean, as I've said, I've had other encounters before, heaps of times, including an old Aboriginal warrior that came from a tree, outside of a tree. Because in the Aboriginal belief, often trees they reincarnate back into a tree. And this wonderful warrior, young fella, with his spear and the way they stand with a foot on their leg, had come out from behind a tree. But that's another story for another time. We're having enough trouble getting this in time frame. Oops. I've got Mises doing all sorts of weird things here. I don't want to go stopping the communication. Well, that's amazing. I said, you got that disturbance, lack of sleep, the same night, and very close to the same time as Sam and I were chatting. I'm not too sure why he chose me over you, considering you knew him better. In the long time, I think he'd react much better to you than me. The reason I originally sent you the email was just to see if you could get confirmation that it was Sam and wasn't talking to myself. I have no doubt now, thanks for the feedback. I keep getting a feeling he thinks we are dreams when we're interacting. So hence why Spirit wants us to bombard him somehow. It's like we're short-circuiting him, having to go through the unnecessary pain. And obviously, we seem to be getting through to him. Read the drinks, catching up tonight from last night. Thanks so much for the permission. Going to get blown rotten, fall down, grab the grass tonight. Half a nip should do it well. On Sunday morning, the 15th of April, I received this email back. Yeah, I should be able to get this email through, and that'll be it, I think. This came from the 15th of April from Danny. Had Sam visit me around 10 p.m. last night. He was like he was on drugs and totally lost. He couldn't work out what was up and what was down. He shared things from our physical life together, and in particular why I had chosen to help him. I said I thought he was worthy. You see, Sam had been, trying to get the spiritual information through to, Danny had been through to Sammy for a lot longer than me, because Sam was interacting with me and would talk with me, but he wouldn't talk spiritual matters. It was just not it. We'd talk about everything else. He even helped me build my place here. There was so much that he did, but it was never the spiritual. It always amazed me. I mean, it was, if me being the nutcase, which I think he thought I was, yet he was there with me as a friend, in his own way. This is coming from, and this continuing the email from Danny. Sam said that he was always jealous of me and was not always as he should have been. I said that was in the past. Let's leave it in the past. It no longer matters. He said he wanted to move on from where he was, and the subject of God came up. He said that he still didn't believe in God, and I said that I do, and that he should. See, and Dave is at that stage. I mean, we're a long time back. That was where Dave was at, was God. Oh, it's probably like me now, and it's the God as God, and it's the Creator, and there is a massive difference. And I said I do, and that he should. That is the stepping stone to his moving on. I felt him grab me by the hand, and I knew immediately it was him. Not that I was had been doubting before. It confirmed to me that it truly was him, and this was a sign from him that I had his trust. Like in the same way that I got those signs of knowing he was doing symbols that I knew were his, but I had not conjured up. They came, it's hard to explain, but they come separately in a way. That's what happened with Danny. He had the same thing. He asked me a couple of times why I was helping him now and when he was alive, and I reminded him of the many times he had helped me in life, particularly moving from Gayndah to Harvey Bay. That's where we were up to, wasn't it? At a time when I was going through so much upheaval. It was at that point I had the sense of citrus. This is what I referred to. A sign, excuse me, a sign, to me that Jill was around. In the old Gayndah days, when they both called in on their way home after a week of picking fruit at the local orchards that smelled strongly of citrus. I asked Sam if he was aware that there was someone waiting for him, but he didn't indicate one way or another. I think we've got him with one arm through the wall, as you said, and I'm sure that as he feels okay with the changes that he's going through, he will pass fully through the wall and into the light. Now he's referring to his understanding of moving from the physical into the spiritual. This is Danny's understanding of it. Can't believe this. Distractions. That's where you go off and turn the kettle off. Or the microwave. Okay. So what was I up to? Going through. He will pass fully through the wall and into the light. I can picture a younger Jill in her wedding dress with a posy of flowers and his eyes filled with tears, and with both of them thanking us for our help. True love is not second place for God. This experience is new for me and one I didn't expect. I've got to keep an eye on. Oh, yeah, right. I thought he was passing over quick. I thought he passed over quickly. I felt quite emotional and humbled that I'm able to be a part of this moving. His spiritual energy seems quite low, like the Ted we both know. That's another party. Though you'd like the update, I thought you'd like the update and would appreciate if you could check with Spirit that this was really Sam. He said he would be back to see us both soon. It is so good to tell someone who understands something as deeply emotional as this. So the next one will be part 3, and that's the continuation. As I say, this is going to be quite long because we're into 3 so far, 2 so far, coming up to a third, and we're not even halfway yet. So, catch you on the other side of the wall. See you then. Thanks for your attention and your interest, and hope you have a good day.